The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and not of DoD or any of its components.
Take me to the countryside. Gotta get out of these city lights. Drinking my cup, got me feeling right. Gotta get out of these city lights.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to your W1R number 3. Got some feedback these last couple weeks. I talk about it all the time. Love the feedback from friends and viewers and listeners. And that feedback is what makes this thing better. So the feedback that I got is that I need to do an intro to each episode to kind of talk about what we're going to talk about, to give it a synopsis so that honestly you look at it and you think to yourself, man, like maybe I'll stick around and see what this episode's all about. For the W1R also, I'm going to keep it under 30 minutes. I've got a timer this time, go figure. And that way I'm not taking up too much of your time just hearing me ramble about stuff, right? So for the intro this time, I want to start with thank you, right? So the response to the podcast, both on YouTube and Spotify, has been tremendous. I was able to get my RSS feed, so basically to get the podcast published to Apple Podcasts and also to Google Play Podcasts, so you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. To download or listen to or stream whenever you're on the treadmill or taking a drive or whatever. So that's all out there in the different arenas and on the different platforms. And, you know, the only other thing I'll ask is on YouTube or any of these platforms, you know, just hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment if you have any feedback. You know, when you subscribe, it helps you find other things that might interest you, right? Whether it's the Permission to Speak Freely podcast or Don't Give Up the Ship podcast or, you know, the Cutlass podcast with Paul Kingsbury, all these different, you know, platforms that have content out there that are just a little bit different that complement each other. And when you subscribe to the Rising Sun podcast, it's going to help link you up to those things that might interest you. Okay. So hit that subscribe button, you know, like and follow on the different platforms. So that being said, here's the synopsis. Here's what we're going to talk about today on the W1R number 3. And if you hear my voice, I'll explain it as we go. Kind of lost it a little bit last night. Basically, I coach our intramural basketball team, and I might get a little excited on the sidelines. We'll just leave it at that. So sorry about that. All right, so the synopsis that we're going to talk about today, really just 3 big topics. We're going to talk about dreams, first of all, in a sense of the mechanics of a dream. In other words, when you wake up, to try to maybe write it down and analyze it and see what it means, which is kind of a loose science, right? But I think it's interesting to me anyway, so maybe it'll be interesting to you as well. We're going to talk about haters, right? You know, haters versus meaningful feedback. And oh, by the way, haters can't give meaningful feedback. Okay, so we'll get into that, and then you know, we'll kind of wrap it up with this funny topic, which is my irrational fear of the dentist office. I don't know what it is, like full blown palm sweating, anxiety, and I've got healthy teeth, man, no cavities. You know what I mean? I mean, they're big. I got big teeth, right? But they're healthy, and but I don't know, man. Like when it's time to go to the dentist, I'm like full blown, like almost panic attack. So I went to the dentist this week. It's never as bad as I think it's going to be. So anyways, and then we'll close it up, talk about preview of some of the upcoming episodes. I got some great folks coming on these next few weeks. Plus, of course, the Texan Connection with Matt Frugier. I'm going to give you my email address. So if you have questions, you know, you can shoot them my way. And then we'll do a little housekeeping, talk about some, you know, some folks that are helping out the podcast, okay? So without further ado, and if you made it through the first 4 minutes and 25 seconds, I promise you this will not go more than 25 more minutes, okay? W1Rs are going to be 30 minutes or less without fail. I won't go 40 minutes again. That one was a little long. So time to do our maintenance, all right? So the first thing is dreams. So let's see here. I have read, heard, not done any real research on this, so don't take this as authoritative because it certainly is not. But over the years, you kind of like pick up some things about dreams, right? And what you hear is that they have meaning, and maybe you should like write them down when you wake up, things like that, right? Now, what I do know based on the things that I've read is that, dreams kind of happen, the ones that you remember anyways, right? The ones that you wake up like, oh, that was weird. They happen kind of on the fringes of, that rapid eye movement REM sleep, right? So REM sleep is that deep, good sleep. If you ever use like a fitness tracker, you probably see how much like deep sleep you have. Well, that's the REM sleep. And dreams are happening then too, but you don't necessarily remember them, right? But those kind of on the fringes of like right before you hit that REM sleep, as you're going to sleep and then as you're waking up. So the things that I've read is that that's kind of your brain processing your day or some event that happened to you. And your brain's doing it in a way that, is kind of fantasy and, kind of not intentionally, I don't think, is trying to provide insight to you. But if you stop and think about it and write it down, then it can potentially provide some insight, right? Some of us that, read a lot growing up. So I'll take it back, right? So I was in gifted and talented reading when I was, in junior high, elementary school. And one of the things that we really talked about was symbolism, right? And so, if you read a novel, a book, let's talk about like The Once and Future King or Animal Farm, right? Things like that. Well, those books are intended to have symbolism. Like the story on its face is not exactly the story, right? And so there are characters and things that the characters do and events that maybe have a correlation to something that is in the current events of the day, or some lesson that the author is trying to convey. So that's kind of like symbolism, right? And so I guess for me, being raised that way and kind of being educated that way, I find symbolism in a lot of things. And so dreams are that way for me, right? If I wake up and, I was in a car chase, right? It's like, okay, what's that about, right? Somebody's going to say, well, you're running from your problems, Dean. Yeah, I got it, right? Maybe. But I think it's important to really sit down and think about those things, right? And if not important, then at least it's kind of fun, right? Because, you're doing this mental exercise that stimulates your brain and gives you something of a distraction to, do something that is intellectual. And I think that's definitely important, right? So, and then the other part of dreams is, we have these dreams, i.e., I want to advance further in the military. I want to be a command master chief, right? I was talking to somebody the other day, and when he was a young sailor, he's like, man, I want to be the MCPON, Like you have these dreams of obtaining this really high thing. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be an astronaut. I have a dream of, being successful. And, it's this weird thing that as you get older, your dreams kind of become diluted, right? Like my dream is to have my family close to me and be able to, play with grandbabies and to be like financially like sound, like not wanting for anything. I don't care if I'm wealthy. I just want to be like completely financially sound into my old age to be able to like go on vacations and trips and spoil my grandbabies and my kids. Like that's my dream, right? You ask 10-year-old Dean, man, I want to go to the moon, right? That was my dream, okay? And so, I think maybe your dreams become more realistic over time, which is fine, right? But don't stop having dreams. I mean, it goes back to the conversation we had about goals. If you stop having dreams, then what are you going to set goals for? So don't be content, right? Shoot for the moon. Go for it. What's the worst that could happen, right? You'll have an endeavor that teaches you something that maybe helps you attain some other goal, and maybe you reset your dreams. So anyways, that's dreams. The other one, I was thinking about this, and there's no particular instance that kind of spurred this thought process when it comes to haters, right? We've all had haters. And that's kind of a hard thing to define. I think, if you were to look at it in the general sense, what a hater is somebody's jealous of you, right? And so because of their jealousy, they want to talk trash, right? And maybe they even take it a step further and they try to kind of like knock you off your pedestal, right? That's unfortunate. Look, I think we've all been guilty of, throwing a little shade every now and then, right? Like the haterade, like the haters ball and Dave Chappelle, right? Hate. But man, that's a bad way to go through life, right? Jealousy in general is it's gross. Like, again, we've all been jealous. I'm not telling you that I'm perfect and that I haven't been guilty of it, but I'll tell you that I have come out the other side of it. And, I just want to see people like win. I want to see everybody win. It's like I tell my, the chiefs that work for me, right? I tell them all the time, man, like imagine this huge long table like in Batman, right? Like the Michael Keaton Batman, right? There's this huge table and it is just full of food, man. I mean, it's a feast, right? Because there's plenty to eat. Everybody's going to eat, right? And I think that if you have that attitude, then you're less inclined to hate, right? However, there are still going to be people that don't like what you're doing necessarily, and it might be rational in some cases, but most of the time, if you're talking about haters, it's irrational, right? There's no reason for them to dislike what you're doing or be angry about what you're doing. They just, I don't know, they're either jealous or they just like don't like you, okay? But even those people sometimes will provide meaningful feedback. Okay, I'm not telling you to listen to everything that your haters say. Right? Don't read all the bad comments. Don't listen to the gossip that's going around about you all the time. But be open to the fact that even those people that don't have pure intentions, right? They're not giving you constructive criticism. They're not trying to further you or help you, right? Sometimes even those people can have valuable feedback about whatever, right? How you handle certain situations or your leadership style. In the case of this small sliver of what I have going on, right? I am certain that there will be haters that will say, why in the hell does Dean Howell have a podcast? Self-absorbed, likes looking at himself, right? I already hear all of it, okay? Some of that maybe is my insecurities. I admit that. But some of that, right, if I weed through, if I go through all of that, I'm sure that I'm going to find some valuable feedback, right? But I got all the stuff that's not valuable, okay, from untrusted sources. I got to let that shit go because it ain't going to do anything for me, right? And that's what I would tell you is don't be consumed by the haters, man. Okay. If there's some valuable nuggets in the things that they're saying, then analyze, take them on board if they're applicable. But if they're not, then leave that shit behind. Okay. So that's haters. All right. Last one. Okay. And I'm coming in about 15 minutes, man. So I'm coming in hot. I'm going to do this thing in 20 minutes a day. I promise. All right. So everybody watch it to the end. It's going to get good. Okay. So my irrational fear of the dentist. Why is this a thing? I do not know. But I can tell you that I get seriously worked up knowing that I have a dental appointment. And I don't know, man. I didn't have any trauma or anything as a kid. Like, I didn't have a bad dentist that hurt me. I think I just don't like. It's gonna sound so funny, man. I don't like people's fingers in my mouth, man. It's gross, right? Like and they're tugging around on your mouth and like open wide. I'm like, man, I'm opening as wide as I can. I can't open any wider. And then, man, they pull out either a drill or the little thing that they use to clean your teeth, like that ultrasonic thing, man. And I don't know if it's the frequency of the sound of that thing, but man, I'm telling you, I am like clutching the armrest the whole time that I'm in the dental chair. And thank God, man, I had a good hygienist here that I saw the other day. But I had to tell my boy that works at the clinic, I was like, hey, man, don't just put me with anybody. Because I'll freak out, man. I'll freak out. Like, I'll tell him stop. Like, just stop. I need a minute kind of thing. So, I don't know, man. Maybe you have an irrational fear of something, right? Maybe it's the dentist. Maybe it's – I had a boss one time that had an irrational fear of sharks. And so when we would have a swim call on the ship, not a chance she was getting in the water. Lived in Hawaii for a while, and she would hardly get in the water at the beach because she was certain that Jaws was going to, eat her, okay? So I don't know, man. I just thought it was funny. I thought I'd talk about it. Like I said, irrational fear of the dentist. What's the lesson in that? I don't know, man. I can make some shit up. I just want to share it with everybody, right? Am I going to defeat that fear? Probably not. I'm okay with living with that one, right? It's not like I have a fear of going outside or it's not like I'm a hoarder or something I really need to work on. Like, hey, if I got to work through that anxiety every time I go to the dentist, it is what it is, man. I'll just fucking deal with it, right? So, anyway, so that's kind of the W1R, man. That is straight to the point. What we talk about, dreams. First of all, think about your dreams when you wake up, right? Write them down. The second part of that is don't give up on your dreams and be willing to readjust your dreams as life requires. And then the second one that we talked about was haters. Okay, haters are out there for everybody. It's part of life, right? But just because they don't have your best interests at heart, sometimes the things that they say or feedback that they may give you, even if it's not coming from a good place, sometimes it can be valuable, right? You just got to open your ears and be willing to accept the fact that, not all feedback has to come from a good place, right? And then, of course, we talked about dentists, which I know is random as hell, but I don't know. I just want to share it with you. So, okay, so first of all, we'll do some housekeeping stuff right here. So, man, got some awesome response. Again, like I said at the beginning in the intro, man, the guys over on the Permission to Speak Freely podcast, they're like my biggest fans, out there, probably except for my mom. They've got a huge platform already, and they've only been around for a little while. And I love what they're doing, man. They're just, they're talking about their experiences in a real way, right? From the heart. And there's no pretentious filter around it or anything. So I love what they're doing. And, just the fact that they're showing me some love out there really made me happy, man. So, and then, the second part of the kind of the housekeeping thing, I talk about, not being sponsored, but there's a few things, right? Like citylokes.com. Go check them out, man. Origin USA, right? I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a brand with Jocko Willink, clothing brand. They got jeans and boots and shirts, and it's all made in America, right? They're building, basically textile factories in Maine, right, to kind of revitalize the textile industry up there. That's cool stuff, right? And if you can support a brand like that one, then why not? So. And then, like I said, man, what I would ask for everybody is, if you're liking this, does it help me? Absolutely. I'm not going to, blow sunshine, man. It's good for me if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, but I think it also helps you find things that are going to pique your interest, that are going to kind of fit in your niche of things that you like to see and listen to, and the content that you like to consume, right? And hopefully it's a variety of things that you're taking in that can help you with your professional development, your personal development. And again, a big part of this is just kind of to be entertaining, man, right? Pass the time on the treadmill while you're going for a drive. Maybe get a few laughs in the meantime, right? And so, so subscribe, hit me with the comments. Also, email address. Okay, so it's Rising Sun, right? Just like the podcast, all one word, Rising Sun Dean, DEAN. That's Rising Sun Dean @gmail.com. Shoot me some questions, man. I'll answer them at the end of the W1Rs, or you can leave them in the comments on YouTube. I'm looking at all those, and I'm happy to respond both in the comment section, and I'm happy to talk about some of those questions here on the podcast as well. Last thing, I'll just give you a preview of what's coming up. It's going to be an awesome March. Okay, we've got, today I'll release this. This is the W1R number 3. This weekend I'm going to record the Texan Connection with Matt. Monday I'll release episode 2 with Frank Rice. I'll do an intro first to kind of tell you about the podcast and kind of tell you about him. Woo! You do not want to miss that one. I'm telling you. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Already recorded, and man, that's one that you definitely want to watch all the way through because it's a good time. And then that week I'll also release the Texan Connection, and so it's all, like I said, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Something's going to be hitting the streets. So hit that subscribe button, follow on Apple Podcasts, follow on Google Play. Subscribe on Spotify, wherever you're taking in the content, so you get that notification that it's available, man. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed, that quick hitter of a W1R. That's kind of the point, though, right? We do that maintenance. Think about the things that are important to you. I encourage you to do the same thing in your life, right? If something comes up, write it down. Write it down like, hey, man, I've never really thought about this. You don't have to get on and talk about it, right? But find somebody, right? Find a mentor, find a friend. And it's okay to have these intellectual, thought-provoking type of conversations with people because that's what helps you grow, okay? It doesn't always just have to be about, the greatest sports team in the history of sports, the Louisiana State University Tigers, right? It doesn't have to be about that. I hope you caught that. So anyways, go Tigers. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching, and next time we'll see you is going to be on Monday the 7th when we release episode 2 with Frank Rice. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.